सा
Hello. Eldrigu namaskara. Good morning to everyone present. Welcome to the second day of Ranjani Utsav 2025. We begin today's programs with the prayer sung by the youngest kid of our house, Mahati Hebbar.
सारे मा पा दा मा पा सा सा पा दा मा गा सारे ग सारे प म ग सा नि प नि सा पल पल बीतत सगरो दिन पल पल बीतत सगरो दिन मनुवा तू कर विचार मनुवा तू कर विचार पल पल बीतत सगरो दिन गुरु ज्ञान है अपार गुरु ज्ञान है अपार समझ रस दास कर सेवा गुरु चरण तब हो पाव सागर पार पल पल बीतत सगरो दिन पल पल बीतत पल पल बीतत पल पल बीतत सगरो दिन सुरन सो सादले गुण ज्ञान सुरन सो सादले गुण ज्ञान गुणीचन करे तब तुम मान गुणीजन करे तब तुम मान सुरन सो सादले गुण ज्ञान नाद विद्या अति कठिन साधन नाद विद्या अति कठिन साधन
Hello. Thank you, Mahati, for that very sweet prayer. I would now like to request Shri Keshav Paranjape sir, who is going to be speaking today, to come on to the dais. A hearty welcome to Shri Keshav Paranjape sir. Sir has been with us with Ranjani Memorial Trust since last September. For the last year's festival, Paranjape sir and his sister, Dr. Binda Paranjape, who is the Dean of Banaras Hindu University Social Sciences Department, both of them were with us throughout the duration of the last year's festival, and they've become part of the Ranjani Memorial Trust family right now. Last year, we had the fortune of listening to his sister, Dr. Binda Madam, speaking about Tavaifs and Devadasis in Indian art forms. Today, we have Keshav sir giving us a talk on appreciation of classical music. Paranjape sir is a principal of a college affiliated to Mumbai University. He is also the honorary secretary of a music circle called Swaramauli for the last 30 years, which has provided platform to more than 200 up-and-coming artists in regular monthly concerts. He has also conducted many lecture demonstrations and also held question-answer sessions and interviews of eminent, great artists like Kishore Yamunkarji, Dondutai Kulkarniji, and Suresh Talwalkarji. He has also contributed many articles on music in Marathi newspapers and magazines. He is also a music composer, and he has set to tune a few rare bhangs of Sant Dhyaneshwar, which is sung by many artists. He is also a part of the film on Kishori Yamunkarji, which is done by Amol Palekar, the film titled Bhinna Shaj. And Paranjape sir has spoken about various aspects of Kishori Tai's artistry in that film. We are very happy to have you back on the stage once again. Sir, namaskaram to you. I request Aravinda Hebbar sir, President of RMT, to welcome sir with the flower. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, namaskar. At the outset, I thank Hebbar sir and you members of the audience. I thank Hebbar sir for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this Ranjani Utsav. Though I am not playing any instrument, musical instrument, or I am not singing, still a platform is made available to me. And I thank you at this point of time for honoring Dr. Hebbar's invitation and being present here. I may get an opportunity at the end of my lecture to thank you for giving patient and encouraging listening to me. It is not a very big affair. I just would like to share a few things which have come to my mind, over which I have pondered for some time during my journey of last around 40 years of being associated in this way or that way with music, music makers, listeners of music, like that too on a very small scale. But I find that that small scale facilitates many things which, when you are operating on a very big scale, you are denied. Like the closeness with the artists, exchanging ideas with the artists. So also very frank observations and opinions of the audience and this and that. So of late, it is not only organizing few music programs in my circle that I thought should suffice. I am now into putting in my efforts for gathering public support to this great tradition and great art of classical music. there is no dearth of listenership or viewership to classical music as we see YouTube channels or music festivals and programs, right? But in spite of that big audience or big viewership that we see there on those platforms, I still feel that a continuous effort is required to inculcate a positive interest in the mind of listeners for classical music and propagating such a feeling in the mind of the listeners that they stand by classical music. They are not only listeners, casual listeners of classical music, and they just go on saying that classical music is a great art. If it is a great art, they should also feel that I have got a role to play to support and keep this tradition alive. So in that pursuit, I do whatever little I can, and association with good artists, big artists, has facilitated me to find opportunities to talk to people. There are some organizations there in Mumbai who organize workshops on cultivation of taste, like for good painting, for good literature, music, like. So in that also, I chance to speak to people. And I find many times that there are many good listeners who are there on the periphery of classical music arena. And it is my endeavor to bring them in the arena of classical music. They are part-time or casual. When I say part-time, I do not mean to say so many hours out of 24 hours of a day, of course, but casual listeners of music, where I want them to become listeners of classical music, supporters of classical music. There is no doubt whatsoever, and there is no other option whatsoever when they are asked, which is the art that you support the best? I mean, because I am there in classical music, maybe because of that, but I want my listeners to give the answer that yes, classical music that I am there in for. So in that pursuit, when I talk to people, and that is the reason why I accepted invitation. Though the spelling is starting with IN, I take that as ORDER from Hebbar sir. And so far as today's talk is concerned, I thought of raising a few questions for myself and seeking answers to those questions for myself. But this exercise I am going to do in your presence. And this searching the answer is going to be an attempt aloud, where you will also participate. The first question that comes to me is why I am speaking, and why I am speaking on appreciation of classical music. The first question, why I am speaking, a very simple, straightforward answer, which would get me 10 out of 10 marks in the examination, is it is nothing but a gesture of obedience on my part. When Hebbar sir says that you have to speak, I am to speak. Whether I deserve speaking or not is his endeavor. It is his onus. That is one thing. And going beyond that, if I do not want to put Hebbar sir in such an awkward position, I have to seek some reply of my own to this question. And that reply I would like to share with you is, when I am there in classical music, listening, organizing, talking to music makers for last maybe around 40 years, and when I feel for classical music, my observations I should share. I find myself in such a position, precarious, you may say, position, where I am not exactly in the outskirt, and though I am not very much there in the circle of classical music, in the arena of classical music. I am neither on the periphery nor inside, but I am on the border. So it is possible for me to hold hands of those who are there in the periphery and take them closer to the inner circle. So that is why I would like to share my experiences and my observations. And I mean, the message that I've got in mind can be spread. I am quite sure that all of you are very good listeners and you do not require sharing of my observations with you, but it will certainly inculcate, it would certainly make you feel, yes, I too have to talk to such people around me who otherwise are very intelligent, sensitive, this and that, but when it comes to classical music, they shirk. So if such people are there around you, my solutions I would like to share with you. You can try those solutions in the society. That is a reason. Moreover, when you try to introspect as to why any particular activity you are doing, how you are doing, what is your pathway and how you have progressed, it is this self-introspection helps you understand yourselves better. Ultimately, it is being said about all classical arts, good arts, so of course the classical music, that this is an instrument for self-realization, then maybe self-actualization, very big things they are. But even thinking for yourselves as to why you are there with the classical music or good art, if you introspect, you come to know better about yourselves. Some good points on which you can develop, some weaknesses which you can try to mitigate, go over. So that also is a reason why I am indulging in this exercise of speaking about music appreciation. And then why music appreciation is a topic? Because it is a very, very simple topic. Everybody, I am quite sure of the listeners know much better than the speaker in this topic. So I haven't got any responsibility of telling you something new and contributing to your knowledge. You know better. I can derive information from you, from your responses. Very simple. And moreover, whatever under the sun regarding music, I say would certainly be accommodated under this broad title of appreciation of classical music. I say classical music because now I am convinced that all music is not music. And it has got its own speciality, it has got its own importance that is there. And I say classical music in the sense, I should have said Hindustani because I have got exposure of, only a little exposure of Hindustani classical music and not Carnatic classical music. So I should have said Hindustani classical music, not Carnatic classical music, because then there is difference. Though, of course, the foundation is just the same. So this is a topic, this was my first question as to why I am speaking and why I am speaking on appreciation of classical music. Now I go over to the next part, that is, what are the difficulties? What are the obstacles? Why do I find that people are there on the periphery and they take too much time or they never go inside the circle of classical music? I have found one thing and which I would like to share with you. I stand for correction, but that is my observation. There is a fallacy of understanding behind it. Understanding, inverted commas. I will explain what I mean. People go, I have heard people saying, no, I like classical music, but I don't understand it. Some people are in the habit of giving a complete answer, and then they say that is the reason why I am there on the periphery. Many others don't say that, but then that is there in their mind. I don't understand. And that is why I am half-hearted when I listen to classical music. It is not my area. I am an outsider to classical music. Classical musicians, those who like classical music, those who appreciate classical music like anything connoisseurs, they may be great people, but I'm not that great. But then I don't belong to them. Now, whether they garland me and because I am a listener, or garland a big classical musician, that doesn't suffice to me when I have told you my objective, that I want supporters of classical music. If they say that I don't belong to you, then it is my defeat. People say that I don't understand classical music. If I ask them, what don't you understand? You tell me what is that you don't understand. No, I don't understand. I can't recognize rag. I cannot put tali. Tal, I cannot hold. I do not know why a particular artist is ranked so high and some other artist is not ranked all that high. These are the reasons generally given that people believe that they do not understand classical music. I say there is a fallacy. Why? Because understanding as a concept is fallacious. And it is fallacious because of language. Words. Words bear meaning, words carry meaning, words convey meaning, and therefore we are in the habit of learned people, if not learned, educated people that we are in the habit of creating a feeling that somebody says and I understand. And if I don't understand, then I'm not comfortable. I'm used to being an educated person, so I must understand. Prema Swarupa Ai. Ai is mother. Mother is incarnation of love. Prema Swarupa. I understand. But Revati Rag phrase is sung, I don't understand. Understanding has always been defined with understanding of words. But word has not emerged along with human beings on this earth. This also is creation of mankind. Prior to language, evolution of language, there were sounds. And sounds used to convey. Sounds used to be understood. Better, more articulated understanding came with language. And now for thousands and thousands of years, mankind is used to using language for communication. And that is why building a fallacy that we understand when there are words. If I do not understand meaning of a particular word, I do not understand. Meaning is told, I understand. Fine. But even this understanding has got a limitation. Why do I understand? When I say love, I mean something. You understand when you hear the word love. Why? Because that word has become a symbol of some feeling. Over thousands of years, sounds have undergone tremendous, for thousands of years, processing. And through that processing, those sounds have become icons or symbols of certain things. So, but what I mean by love and what you understand by love need not be the same. But we are under the fallacy that yes, I conveyed and you understood. I say mother, you understand what is mother. What I exactly mean by mother and what you understand by the word mother not only need not, but does not tally. These are very simple words. But when I say sorrow, happiness, when I say bitter and sweet, when I say red and blue, see whether you agree with me. I see a rose and I say red. What impression this color is making in my, my psyche, I can't tell you. And when I say red, you create an impression in your mind. That is right, correct. But where is the mechanism to tally that it is the same? So there is, सिंपल बात को बहुत डिफिकल्ट बनाना प्रोफेसर लोगों का काम रहता है, विच वेरी फेथफुली आई डू. And music appreciation is so simple topic that I get all the liberty to making it all the more difficult and complicated, because say, I'm used to doing that. I love doing. Maybe that may be a reason. But my point is that there is approximation. This approximation we don't take into consideration. We are not aware of that approximation because it is quite in vogue. Now what happens with other forms of communication? The so-called precision is not there, which language as a medium has achieved, or we believe that it has achieved. And that is why understanding means understanding in words. Words describe everything, everything. So, when a raga is sung, what is being conveyed? I want a concrete understanding in words. A particular raga Bhageshri is Vipralamba Shringara. Okay, I understand. This is a fallacy. And common man takes refuge to words, and that is why light music, word-based music, where music plays a secondary role to augment words, that form of music is understood, believed to be understood. Chaiya, chaiya, chal chaiya, I understand. Chaiya, I know na. I understand words. Good that music has decorated those words. But has music this limited a role? It is classical music as an art where music is at supremacy. Here I quote Kishori Ammonkar. She has always said that the music that you listen to, the sound, it is a language and it conveys. So if you are contented with, as an artist and as a listener, to only with sounds, that is the first stage of understanding. But beyond that, the samagri in the material in music has got capacity to express. If the artist is not aware of it and the listener also is not aware to it, the entire affair is restricted to sounds. And then, of course, I have got also in mind today to speak about Kishoritai's theorem, if time permits. But we have to get away with this idea of understanding. Taste, for the experience of taste, salty, bitter, sweet, sour, we have got sensory, this thing, organ, which is tongue, jivva. For seeing things, you have got eyes. For experiencing fragrance, smell, you have got nose. These are sensory organs. For listening to sound, you have got ears. And they are not interchangeable. I cannot see fragrance. It is okay for writing in poetry. मैंने देखी है उन आँखों की महकती खुशबू, अच्छा लगता है. ऐसा होता नहीं है ना. Let every organ do its own work. So, the thing that is meant for listening, why do you try to translate it into some other thing, even in words? A communication is sent by an artist in the medium, audible medium, and in the audible medium you receive it. Do not expect that this communication will speak as language speaks. Get away with the idea of understanding. You need not understand in that sense of understanding. So what can you understand? And what people try to understand? Again, the decoration and the periphery. Which is the rag, what is it called? Which is the sur, whether it is arohan, whether it is avrohan. This is all description and not communication. So, appreciation, rasikata, is to do with, ultimately, the message, musical message, and not the information which surrounds that message. If you understand that decoration around, good, not bad. In a silver bowl, payasam is being served, good. If you understand that the bowl is a silver bowl, it is good. But does that mean that payasam taste you are able to appreciate with knowing that this is silver? So rasikta is to go to the musical message, the musical content, which has got no parallel and which has got no translation into words. And in that sense, it is said that music is abstract. Music is abstract. I lost my mother when I was a small kid. And because of that, whenever I see a small kid crying to meet his mother and is, lost where his mother is, I feel very sad, or I'm very emotional. This is a message that words can give you. If such a drawing is drawn, again it is attempting to convey the words with the help of figures. You can't expect that from music. Music doesn't articulate the reason why and how a particular emotion is created. And here comes again, in short I will tell you, Rasa Siddhanta. In our Indian theory of arts, particularly it is, they say Natya Shastra, but actually it applies to literature. What is Rasa Siddhanta? They say that the experience that a writer gets has got a geographical, time-wise, and a personal connotation. At a given point of time, at a given place, by a given person, a particular experience is taken. But when that experience is expressed in words, where should it lead to? Where should it reach? All those details should get cleared, should stay away, stay back, and the feeling should go ahead. Feeling is universal. When you say my mother, it is not universal because it is your mother. But when you say mother, it reaches nearer to universality. And even mother as a word also is to disappear, and what you understand by the concept mother, the caring, the love, and whatever. That is avyakta only. that is also abstract. So the process, even in the literature, is admitted by our Rishi Munis, is that from concrete to abstract. A concrete so-called experience is to get elevated to such a state where all the particulars and details are fading out and only the bhav remains. And when that bhav is so universal, it reaches the stage of rasa. If what I speak remains restricted to my time, my experience, my geography, my people, then it doesn't reach rasa. In order that it reaches rasa, all these mundane, like space shuttle goes into space. Initially, it has got many other probes which push that object to the space. And they burn out and fall down. There, only the shuttle is to reach. That is ras. And that ras is abstract. You cannot describe that. It is bliss. It is anand. If for literature, which we consider to be so concrete a form of art, there our rishis have said like this, so what about music? Music is abstract. Abstract in the sense, it doesn't allow you fragment it or stamp it with your own individuality and your own limitations. And that is the language of music. Why I am saying? Because Kishori Dai has said, in very short time, I am trying to reach to you what Kishori Dai has said about. Many of her prescriptions basically are meant for artists and sadhak. But a few are there for the listeners. She says that you should go without any prejudice, without any presumption. You are to experience music. And that experience is what matters. And not the grammar. If somebody tells you that Rag Bhairav depicts this particular bhava or this particular ras, is it because it is told to you that it is depicting this bhava that you are going to experience that? If that is so, then fine, nothing wrong about it. But then miles to go for you to realize it yourselves. And she, for one, believed that music is such powerful a language that even without those preachings and prescriptions, it reaches to people. If you experience music without any prejudice, without any presumptions, without any expectations, you experience bhav and ras, and that ras is bliss. But of course, what Kishori Dai said is charam jisko कहते हैं हम, charam सीमा पे है. Practically, what is possible for us? So, it is fine if you feel like knowing the raga. It is possible. Even without learning, it is possible for you with some effort to get yourselves acquainted with the raga. It is possible for you to be able to give tala. And for that matter, all performers also are not perfect in the tala and even in the raga also. This is an inside story I tell you. So why, if you are not all that perfect, why should you bother? All that is possible. You should do it. But there it doesn't end. It only augments you. It is only a bowl, not the pious. The pious is the bliss. The pious is the emotive content. Rasa. So, I should have my eye on that. That is the only thing. That is the only prescription. Now, practically, I'll now sum up in another 2 minutes. Practically, what can you do? See, the pleasure in any performing art, particularly in music, my observation is coming in two ways which are quite apparently opposite to each other. Apeksha purti, your expectation is fulfilled and you are happy. And apeksha apurti, a twist or something unexpected comes. It gives you a shock. And that is a very sweet shock that gives you pleasure. If this is the way we derive pleasure, I don't say bliss. This is not bliss, this is pleasure. But you reach bliss only through pleasures. Ladder of pleasures. So, if you want to get this pleasure, you have to have apeksha purti, fulfillment of expectation, or a shock to your expectation. Musical shock to your expectation. But then expectation has to be there. And when would the expectation come? Expectation won't come from blue. Expectation comes when a singer is singing or somebody is playing and a similar something is being played or sung within you. You may not be in a position to sing in that pitch. I have experienced many times. I tell you कि कोई गा रहा है तो मुझे लग रहा है कि मुझे ये बहुत मालूम है. मैं जब गाने की कोशिश करूंगा तो अरे बाप रे, I must not have done that. Because there is a very big gap. That gap also can be bridged. That is a different story. But whenever some musical message is being passed to you, some music you are listening to, something should emerge within you. Then only expectations are built up. And I tell you, music is universal. Even if you do not know Rag Madhuvanti, if you listen to Madhuvanti in a very right way with your concentration made at that time, Madhuvanti scale, Madhuvanti Rag is already imbibed, it is already programmed in your sensory. So if you are keen and if you are concentrated, prejudice-less, selfless, listening is there, that Madhuvanti resounds within you. You have to give it time. You have to give it patience. Parte, Hindi में कहते हैं जिसको, covers my sensitivity towards musical happenings, musical contents. They are covered by my day-to-day mundane affairs and by overindulgence of intelligence. If I am able to take away those things, I reach to music. And the only thing to do, achieve is to listen as far as is possible, without any expectation, without any microscope in your hand, looking for a particular thing in a particular presentation. Just expose yourselves to the experience. And then try to gather yourselves. How do you gather yourselves? अभी कल saxophone में रेवती last में बजाया, तो we carry that with us. Be aware of that carrying with us. That gives you that sensitivity. A time comes when you are yourself surprised. Arey, I know this. You know because it is not you who are to make effort to know. It is you who are to take away the obstacles that come in realization or knowing. That is the only thing. A stone has already imbibed in him a sculpture. The unwanted part is to be taken out. That is that way. So patience, you need not be, it is not an examination. After 12 months, I am to give examination and pass. That anxiety also comes in a way. My neighbor understands, अरे बराबर सम पे आ करता है, मुझे कुछ नहीं आता है. Let it be, doesn't matter. And जैसे कि हम बीज कोई बोते हैं, you forget about that seed that you have sowed, and then one day it comes out, taking the shape of a small plant. It is there within. Give time. Now this, what I am trying to tell you, is not for you. As I have said, these are the answers that we are to tell to those of our friends who are on the periphery, who love dramatics, who love literature, who love films, who love light music, and in every other art they say that they don't complain that I don't understand. But when it comes to classical music, they say no, they shy out. I don't understand. So that understanding and not understanding fallacy we are to remove. That is a message that we can give. So this is music appreciation in a nutshell. There are many other things also connected, but I mean, कभी time आएगा, कभी बात चलेगी तो कहेंगे. So it is 10:48. Quick one or two observations if somebody would like to share. I don't say questions because I am no authority to answer questions as such.
Hello. Namaste, sir. I have two doubts. Then why these Vagyakaras wrote lyrics? I think it is a step to go towards towards enjoying or appreciating music. But I think it is not so much needed. And how we appreciate this music? Only by the raga or the feeling of raga or bhava. In the initial stage, we need lyrics, I think, because if we can understand the thing, we can enjoy or we can feel. And the other thing is, we must, when we go to the concert and all, you said that we must not have any prejudice or anything else. But as we know some music, we expect those things. How to eradicate those things?
Both the questions are very difficult that way. In my own way, I would like to give my impression. The first one that you said was about Vagyakas. The first style of answer is that all the different arts were integrated in the initial period. In the Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, they call it Natya Shastra, but it is not restricted to Natya as we understand it today. It is synthesis of all performing arts. Then these different arts get lineated, they get distinguished from each other, and each particular art grows and develops. And then these different arts start exchanging, enriching each other. That is a process that goes on. Now in that process, if music initially was not only unmixed music, though if that was mingled with words that time, now if we are in a position to unmingle it and see it in the absolute form, why not? Mankind has come to understand, I tell you, in drawing and painting also. What is drawing and painting? Imitating nature. What you see is to be sketched out, painted out there on the paper. That is the beginning, and that is the first stage of painting. Then people have come to understand that no, colors and shapes are to say something on their own. They need not always copy. And that is why in the modern art, a tree doesn't look like a tree. But still it gives you a feeling. It gives you not the picture of or replica of tree, but it gives you a feeling of a tree. So this is, according to me, a development in the music. And you can trace it in the total history of development of music. You can trace this element. But there used to be Nibaddha Sangeet in the different forms. Even so far as Hindustani is concerned, I tell you, even Drupad Dhamar as on today also is more in the form of pre-composed Nibaddha. And in the Khayal form, that Nibaddhata, pre-composition part has gone. And extemporary presentation has come. Not only that, I tell you, we went with a phrase and not a note initially. Even in the light music, it is a phrase, 4 or 5 notes taken together make a shape. But in classical music, so far as I know the Khayal form, many times artists focus on a note rather than even a phrase. It is not Sagamapaga. Yes, there is Sagamapaga. But many times, many artists, we come to know that he is focusing on Ga. So, this art is trying to reach its own destination, which it has decided. It was originally mixed up with many other forms. That is one thing. Vagyakar, I understand, but don't you think that when there are words, in whichever form, music takes a secondary role? Kishore Dey has said that music is a sovereign art. Music has got music's own language and music's own message. It doesn't require a carrier of words. That is her thinking. And the second thing that you said about, that is very true practically speaking, not prejudice but expectations. The only change I would like to make in the terminology is expectations, I said they play a role, but not prejudice. But I am honored that such a learned lady is indulged into a dialogue with me. I am really honored.
Hello. Namaste everyone. Thank you so much Paranjape sir for this wonderful thought-provoking session. I think I enjoyed this session. I just want to add a few points. Being a practitioner of music, being a student of music and teacher, performer and a keen observer, certain things. Always my Guru Narayan Pandit ji used to say that our musical journey is from Sthula to Sukshma. So, as he said, music is abstract, we all agree. But there are so much concrete work to bring the abstract feel that we all know. Being a good listener, to be a good student, to be a performer, there is so much concrete work. And the learning process or understanding process is also Sthula to Sukshma. Directly, when anybody cannot reach the level of abstract. And whenever, as Pratipakka mentioned now, any audience or listener, while listening to the music, I think he won't just think about the grammar of the rag or just in and around the rag. There is so much will be in his mind, maybe the cultural, social context, his background, or it's all about experience. And experience is itself relative. We cannot decide that how much one can feel, what he can feel out of what. So this experience is because of his cultural, social, his understanding, his everything, his personality, his perception, and his grasping everything. So as sir said, he gave a beautiful example of the payasa and silver bowl. I agree with him about the payasa. Our ultimate aim is to have the taste or the enjoyment of having the payasam. But at the same time, we cannot deny the role of silver cup. One may enjoy the payasa with silver cup. He may get the different level of experience having payasam with silver cup. And at the same time, I can or some other will be more pleased to have payasam in madike or the pot or in some other steel cup. It may give the different experience of his childhood, some kind of nostalgia or related to his root. So though the payasa is very important, we cannot deny the role of the cups. So this sthula to sukshma journey will be there in every field of knowledge, not only in music. So,
Hello. There is no denying about the sthula thing, but don't restrict yourselves and let not your vision be only on the sthula. There is also sukshma, and maybe that sukshmata may encourage a listener that even if he is not able to, एक स्थूल को काबू में लाने के लिए एक जन्म काफी नहीं है, तो वो क्या सोचेगा?
yes. But for
the process that is there for a performer and the process that is there for the listener, whatever is necessary for a performer need not be necessary for the listener. That is the point. That is
yes.
I said it is possible for you to acquaint with the ragas. It should be possible within 5 years' time to be able to recognize 90% of the ragas and 90% of the talas, and also evaluate who is where, how one is doing. That is all possible. But when would that be possible? You have to see what ultimately is the Everest where you are to reach.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I was just trying to put the same thing, that it's all about experience, as he said, to bring the abstract experience in all the listeners, that bowl and also the content in the bowl matters. And for listeners from kacheri to kacheri, it is natural that he should gain some knowledge, and his journey from sthula to sukshma again will be there. So we all are in that journey already. So we are wishing ourselves to have more wonderful, enjoyable journey, to share the knowledge, to enrich ourselves. Thank you so much for the session. Paranjape, sir.
I request Arvind Hebbar sir to give a token of our gratitude to Paranjape sir. Thank you, sir. We will take a quick break for Kashayam, which is served outside, and we'll come back here within 5 minutes for the next session by Dr. Achutsankar Nair sir. ಹೊರಗೆ ಕೌಂಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಷಾಯ ಇದೆ.
ನಿತಿನ್, 2 ಮೈಕ್ ಬೇಕು. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಮ್ಮ 2ನೆಯ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳ್ ಅವರು ರಚಿಸಿದ ಒಂದು ಕೃತಿ ರಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಅರ್ಚನಾ ಸಮನ್ವಿಯವರು ಹಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದೊಂದು ಅಪರೂಪದ ರಾಗ ದೇಶಾಕ್ಷಿ. ಬಿಲಹರಿಯ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆ, ಆದರೆ ನಿಷಾದ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು. ಕೇಳಿ.
सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये चरण विनत जन विबुध पालं देवं सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये चरण विनत जन विबुध पालं देवं सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये भुजगाधिपशयनं भुजगाधिपशयनं वरशयित मृदुभासं भुजगाधिपशयनं वरशयित मुरुभासं भुजराजित रथचरणधरममलहासं भुजराजित रथचरणधरममलहासं रजनीकर सा जनकं रतिनायकजनकं मृजमति हृदय वासं रतिनायकजनकं मृजमति हृदय वासं सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये चरण विनत जन विबुध पालं देवं सरसीरुह नाभमुदारं कलये
Thank you. Today we have an eminent scientist and musician and musicologist, Dr. Achutsankar Nair from Trivandrum. For the first time he is coming to Udupi. I have heard, I have listened, and I have read his book on Swati Tirunal. He is a bioinformatics man. He is a professor of computer science in University of Kerala, heading the Department of Computational Biology and Bioinformatics. He holds M.Tech from IIT Mumbai, M.Phil from University of Cambridge, and 2 PhDs from University of Kerala, one in engineering and one in music. He has been a teacher and visiting professor in various institutions both within India and abroad. He has successfully guided over 25 scholars for PhD. He led various IT development projects as the director of CDIT, Government of Kerala, during 2001-04, which included a massive website on Swati Tirunal. He has authored many research publications and over 15 books in English and Malayalam, including a novel and 2 children's books too. He was a member of Kerala State Higher Education Council, Cochin University Syndicate, Kerala University Senate, etc. He has given invited talks in Madras Music Academy, Kalakshetra, both in Chennai, and Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, Bangalore. Among awards received by him are National Teachers Award by Indian National Science Academy, 2013, Vakkam Maulavi Foundation's Award for Excellence in Social Service, 2014, and P.T. Bhaskara Panikkar Award, 2019. He is a culture and heritage activist and practitioner of green living and barefoot walking. He is also an amateur Carnatic musician who gives occasional concerts. This is just a brief introduction to Dr. Nair. I had invited him a couple of years back, twice, and successfully failed to bring him here because of so many preoccupations that he had in Trivandrum. But his love to come here was evident by me sending his book on Swati Tirunal immediately after me inviting him here to Udupi, without knowing each other. But I knew him through other sources. And his talk on Music Academy was phenomenal. And the way in which Swati Tirunal was considered earlier by a faction was totally toppled by Dr. Achutsankar Nair. Swati Tirunal, I will talk in Kannada, sir, for our reference. Swati Tirunal Maharajaru ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜರೋತ್ತರದ ಕಾಲದವರು 1804ರಿಂದ ಒಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷ 30 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ರೋ 34 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ರೋ ಹಾಗೋ ಹೀಗೋ ಅಂತ ದಂತಕಥೆಗಳು 1000 ಇದೆ. ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳು ಮಹಾರಾಜರು ಸಂಗೀತ ತ್ರಿಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳ ನಂತರ ಬಂದಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬ ಉದ್ದಾಮ ಮಹಾರಾಜರು, ಸಂಗೀತ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಿಳಿದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಟ್ರಾವಂಕೂರ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂಥ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರು. ತಂಜಾವೂರು ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಏನು ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಅವರು ಇವರ ಆಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಡಿವೇಲು ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಯವರು ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇವರ ಸಂಗೀತವನ್ನು ಆಸ್ವಾದಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಕೊಳು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದವರು. ಇರೆಯಮ್ಮನ್ ತಂಬಿ ಅನ್ನುವರು ಕೂಡ ಅವರ ಆಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಇದ್ದು ಸಂಗೀತದ ಒಂದು ಉಚ್ಛ್ರಾಯ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡವರು. ಹೀಗೆಂದು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ. 106 ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಹಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಶಮಂಗುಡಿ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ ಅಯ್ಯರವರು ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳವರ ಹಲವಾರು ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನು ರಾಗ, ನೋಟು, ಸ್ವರ, ಧಾತು ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಗೀತವನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿದವರು. ಮುತ್ತಯ್ಯ ಭಾಗವತರವರು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿದವರು. GNB ಅವರು ಹಾಡಿದ್ದವರು. ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳವರ ಈ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಹಳ ಸಹಾಯಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಓದಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಒಂದಾನೊಂದು ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಸ್ ಬಾಲಚಂದರ್ ಎನ್ನುವರೊಬ್ಬರು, ವೀಣಾ ಬಾಲಚಂದರ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೆಸರಿನವರು, ಅವರ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಯ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕಂಡದ್ದನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳು ಬರೆದದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವಡಿವೇಲು ಬರೆದದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಎರೆಯಮ್ಮನ್ ತಂಬಿ ಬರೆದದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಯಾರೋ ಕೇರಳದ ಬೇರೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಯಾರೋ ಬರೆದದ್ದು, ಮಹಾರಾಜರಾದ್ದರಿಂದ ಅವರು ಬರೆದದ್ದು ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಲಾದಂಥ ಈ ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದವರು ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹುಯಿಲು ಎಬ್ಬಿತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಂಜಾವೂರು ಚತುಷ್ಟಯ ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟೆಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ತಲೆಮಾರಿನಿಂದ ಬಂದವರು ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಪೋರ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದದ್ದು ಇದೆ. ಬಾಲಚಂದರ್ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದರು. ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳವರು ಎನ್ನುವ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಹುಟ್ಟಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಟು ಎ ಮದರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಅದು ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಲ್ಲಣ ಎಬ್ಬಿಸಿತು. ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ತಲ್ಲಣ ಆಯಿತು. ಎಸ್ ಬಾಲಚಂದರ್ ಅವರು ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋದರು. ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಿದರು. ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಬಂತು. ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹುಯಿಲೆಬ್ಬಿತು. 2 ಬಣಗಳು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಾದವು. ಒಬ್ಬರು ಪರ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರು ಅಪರ. ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳರ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಅಲುಗಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಯಿತು. ಅವರದ್ದು ಫೋಟೋ ಇಟ್ಟದ್ದೇ ತಪ್ಪು ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿರೋದು ಸೂರು ಬಹಾರ್, ಅದು ಸರಿಯಿಲ್ಲ. ಖಡ್ಗ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಖಡ್ಗ ಇದ್ದವರನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ, ಏನೇನು ಸುಮಾರು ವಿಷಯಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಂದವು. ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂಥ ಈ ಬಯೋ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ಸ್ನ ಆಧಾರದ ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಂದು ಅಚ್ಯುತ್ ಶಂಕರ್ ನಾಯರ್ ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡದೊಂದು ಅಲೆ ಎಬ್ಬಿಸಿದರು. ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಭಾಷಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳ ದಂತಕತೆ ನಿಜವಾದ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಇವರ ಪುಸ್ತಕದ ಹೆಸರೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಸ್ವಾತಿ ತಿರುನಾಳ್, ಎ ಕಂಪೋಸರ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಟು ಎ ಮದರ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಇನ್ವೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಚ್ಯುತ್ ಶಂಕರ್ ನಾಯರ್ over to the dais. Please come, sir. We would like to listen to you as long as you can speak here. Please.
Okay. Throw. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I think volume can go a bit.
Feedback alkodi.
So I would first like to thank Dr. Aravind Hebbar for this honor of being invited to the land of Udupi Krishna. In spite of the fact that I twice very unprofessionally failed to turn up after he invited me. I am very proud and moved by the fact that the humble work done on Swati Tirunal gets me an invitation to such a faraway place. And to listen to this beautiful rendering of Deshakshi Raga, composition of Swati Tirunal, I think that is even more wonderful than the flower. The song ended with the word Kalaye. So I begin my lecture with the word Kalaye. I understand this Sabha is named after Ranjani, dear daughter of Dr. Aravind Hebbar. I would like to sing one line of the song in Ranjani, composed by Swati Tirunal. Kalaye deva devam, Kalaye deva devam, Murukarunya nivasam, 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 Kalaye deva devam. Valamadana, Valamadana, Mukha Vibhuta, Valamadana, Mukha Vibhuta, Valamadana, Mukha Vibhuta, Danyamana Manisham, Valamadana, Mukha Vibhuta, Vandamana Manisham, Kalaye deva devam, Murukarunya nivasam, Kalaye deva devam. I also wish to offer this flower to her memory. I am very happy to talk very briefly about Swati Tirunal, the legacy that he left behind, and then possibly take questions from you. Even though Professor Aravind Hebbar talked about the controversy, I think it is better to enjoy music than talk about controversy, but I am open to answering questions on it. About 200 years ago, the world of music, 200 to 300 years ago, the world of music was very rich because during that time lived some of the greatest musicians of our country and the world. Tyagaraja, Dikshidhar, Shyama Shastri, Swati Tirunal, Iraiman Thambi, Beethoven, Mozart, they all lived during this period. What a great period it was. And today, if we ask which is the capital, music capital of South India, I think most of you would agree it is Chennai. In olden days, it was Tanjore. But for a very brief period, there was a competition for that place from Trivandrum. It lasted only about 10-15 years. Professor Aravind already mentioned to you, during that 10 years, the favorite students of Dikshidhar came to Trivandrum. One of the favorite students of Saint Tyagaraja, Kannaiya Bhagavathar, came to Trivandrum. Musicians from Lahore, from Visakhapatnam, from Bengal, from Varanasi came to Trivandrum. Because they were attracted by a magnet. Not just a king who sponsored, but a king who could sing. It made a lot of difference to the people who came to Kerala. Now, before the time of Swati Tirunal, Kerala had a music tradition. Like the Yakshagana, Kerala had Sopana. I'm not a great fan of Sopana. Having tuned our ears to very refined, sophisticated Carnatic music, perhaps what I could say is I would like to listen to Sopana as you use the word rustic music. Occasionally, yes. Certain ragas rendered in Sopana style, very especially Sri Raga, in very slow tempo, it captures a very different mood of the raga. But other than that, you are used to enjoying Tyagaraja compositions. It's going to be very difficult to be enjoying Sopana music. This is my frank feedback about it. There is this story of one of the courtiers of Swati Tirunal going and meeting Saint Tyagaraja. I think you must be knowing his name. He is called Shatkala Govindamarar. It is a very interesting question to ask who can sing Shatkalams. He was a Sopana musician. I am very sure if he was a Sopana musician, Tyagaraja would not have entertained him. He possibly was already transformed into a Carnatic singer while in Trivandrum, or during that time the process was going on everywhere, in all places. The sophistication of, we called it the Tamil music, but basically Carnatic music. So I was wondering what would he have done in 6 columns. Nobody can sing in 6 columns. He sang the song Chandana Charchita, which is Jayadeva Ashtabadi. So T. Lakshmanan Pillai, one of the Tamil composers from Kerala, says nobody can sing in 6th speed with any kind of nuance or any kind of bhava. So he said, possibly Shatkala Govindamarar sang the first column, very slow. Now that would have been terrible. You sing Chandana Charchita like this. Chandana. Possibly you can go and have a cup of tea before he switches from one syllable to the next. Even if you sing like that, when you reach the 6th speed, it would look something like this. It would have no nuances, it cannot hold the beauty, joy of music. So my reading is that he applied a Sobana trick. The Sobana trick is not to double, but just to make the tempo faster bit by bit. So I calculated it. If he sang 3 or 4 kalas, 3 or 4 kala is all you could do with some kind of meaningfulness. So if you divide it into 6 kalas, that will be something like increasing the speed 1.3 times every time. That is what he possibly did, which you can hear in Sobana music. In Sobhana Ashtapadi, they gradually increase the tempo towards the end. So just incidentally mentioned. So Swati Tirunal was a prodigy. Even when he was a child, he was very noted for his special abilities. He knew many languages even when he was very young. So we have evidence of it with a British man visiting him twice. Once when he was about 11 years old, and then when he was 16 years old. So when he was 16 years old, this person visited his room, study room, and saw many books in many languages. And he jokingly asked, "Do you read all this, or is it just kept as a showpiece?" So what did Swadhiranal do? He took out a book. What was that book? That book was Euclid's Geometry. And wrote out took a page, opened a page, and said 47th postulate, which is Pythagoras' theorem. And the British man says he took a country slate, drew the picture of a triangle, proved the theorem, and showed him. And he congratulated him, and he was surprised. But then Swati Tirunal told him, "Don't be surprised. The word geometry comes from India. It is the word Jamati that is now you are using as geometry. And also your names of your polygons, octagon, hexagon, nanagon, decagon, they are all similar to our Sanskrit words. In Malayalam you would say octacon, ashtakon, navakon, dashakon. So all of these are also similar to our names of months: October, September, October, November, December. Please note that December is not a 10th month, even though it says Dasha. That is because somebody without a lot of imagination, for troubling us, put the months July and August in between. That is why it all went wrong. Anyway, so he knew many languages. He knew Persian. He studied, those days it was required because it was language of administration. He knew English very well. The Royal Society in London preserves a letter written by him, signed by him, in which he writes about science. He knew, of course, he knew Malayalam. For some reason, he never wrote anything in Tamil. I'm very sure he knew Tamil because those days there were a lot of Tamil Brahmins in service of the government, and very likely that he knew Tamil. And many of the singers were Tamil singers. He knew, but he somehow never composed anything in Tamil. Then very interestingly, he knew Telugu, he knew Kannada, and he knew Hindi. If I am asked to say just one interesting point about him, he traveled only in southern part of Kerala, from Nagarkovil to, let us say, Alappuzha. But in his mind, he traveled all over India. He wrote a song which many of you know, Vishweswara Darshana Kare Chala Manu Tumakashi. So he is saying Chala Manu Tumakashi because he could not travel. So he says, "Oh mind, please travel to Varanasi." That is what he says. And Dr. Balamurali Krishna once sang this in Chennai. And he said, "A king from Trivandrum writes a song about Lord of Kashi. And I, Balamurali Krishna from Andhra, is sitting in Chennai and singing it." So he said, this is what India is. This young boy at the age of 16 became the king of Travancore. And one phase of his personality was that he hated the British naturally, but he accepted all that was good in them. Their education, their science, their medicine, everything he accepted. Musical instrument also he accepted. So I am told that maybe it has roots in India itself, violin, but he promoted it through Vadivelu. He also listened to Western music. He even purchased an instrument, something very close to our LP record, but in a metallic roll. Some notes are created by oscillation of a small needle. So only a small phrase can be played by that, but he purchased that. Then he purchased sheet music, and he listened through Vadivelu to Western music. So he was a person who looked at new things with curiosity. And after he became the king, he had a very nice time, impressing everyone, including the British, how the country was run. He modernized the country. He started a printing press, started an observatory, modern scientific observatory. He started a modern hospital. He started a printing press. He stopped very barbarian punishments. He created a kind of something like a penal code. Many, many things he did. But by 1840, the British officer who was in charge of Travancore came. They didn't go well together. They had a fight. And his health failed, and in 1846, 15 days before Saint Tyagaraja passed away, Swadhiranal passed away at the age of about 33, 34. By that time, he had written about 330 songs. I wouldn't say all of them are compositions. Some of them are bhajan, some of them are padas. And he had 3 wives in that time. He had very many great friends. His greatest, thickest friend was Vadivelu. How do you know he is thickest friend? You just check the salary given to him every month. That is only evidence that we have. And he spent his time during the last 3-4 years. He neglected administration and spent his time in composing music. He wrote about 100 songs in Malayalam. Many people ask, why didn't he not compose in Malayalam? He composed in Malayalam. You can't call it. Some of them are sung like kirtanas. For example, you must have heard this song. It is from the Utsava Prabandha. Pangajakshanam Rameshan Nihang Davahane Vanidum Visheshamanguhanta Sulva Rengane. Then the revel also is very famous. Padmanabha Pahi Pahi Yannuloka Sanjayam. So these are Malayalam songs. There's a lot of Sanskrit, of course he uses a lot of Sanskrit words. He spent most of his time on composing, and because his court was like I would say the first court which had musicians from almost all over India. If you look at Akbar's court, there might have been many great stars, but we do not know whether there was any singer from Kerala in Akbar's court. I think we don't have an evidence that there was, or even from Tamil Nadu. But in Swadhiranal's court, we had people from almost all states of India. Almost all states of India. And he interacted with them, learned from them. For example, the song on Varanasi, I researched and found out that how did he write about Varanasi, as if he saw it. So there was a great saint in Varanasi who is a Malayali. His name is Shankarnath Joshi. Very famous person in North India because he was a minister of Ranjit Singh in Punjab. So Swadhiranal came to know of this person, scholar and very famous person. He wrote to the British Governor General William Bentinck, asking him to depute him to Travancore. So look at his thinking ahead of time. So this person came with a large number of manuscripts from Lahore, and he started a manuscripts library, which is now with the Kerala University. And this person came and gave him a document called, a work called Kashi Khandam, and it describes Kashi. It is that, I would also like to tell you, if you want to study any composer and see their original writings, for no other composer we have original documents available. Saint Tyagaraja, we are told there are some manuscript, Balajapeta manuscripts. I have tried my best to take a look at it, but I couldn't. But if you want to see Swadhiranal manuscripts, simply walk into the Kerala University, pay a fees of 10 rupees, and this whole documents open up to you. And the Hindi songs are written in a book. If you hold it against light, you see a year 1838 written in the paper in watermark. And even manuscript of the lullaby used to put him to sleep is available in the manuscript. It is in that context that this controversy was nonsense. A most well-documented person. In one of the documents I saw, we can see the colonial masters' attitude towards India. There is a printed report of Swati Tirunal being made the king of Travancore. You know when? When he was 30 days old. 30 days old. So the British resident came. British officers came. So the British resident writes, there is a very colorful ceremony, you know, what is the color of the curtain and what dress was Swati Tirunal's mother wearing, everything is described. And finally says at the end of the ceremony, God Save the King was played by the British band. And then he writes one sentence, Travancore music made considerable noise. That is a statement written by the colonial master. And we now live in a different times. I think cultures look at each other with more respect and understanding. And I was surprised when I got a message from US telling that they are putting up a statue of Swati Tirunal in US. And it's actually not Swati Tirunal alone, 9 statues. At the center of it is Annammacharya. And they told me that the statue of Annammacharya in US is going to be taller than the Statue of Liberty. So that is what is happening in US. And around him will be Puradardasa, Tyagaraja, Dikshidhar, etc. They are all be around him. So times have changed. That's good. Now coming to his music, we know who taught him Mridangam, who taught him vocal, who taught him Veena. All these names are so well documented. You cannot find any composer who is well documented. Before I forget, I must tell you, do you know which is the first book of Carnatic music published, printed and published? It is that of Swati Tirunal. When was it published? And do you know when Tyagaraja's works were first printed? It was printed in 1859. But in 1853, 6 years after Swati Tirunal passed away, 85 of his songs were printed and is available now. It has been unearthed. In my research, I only unearthed it, but now it is available as a book, printed, reprinted. So, as a composer, he was, some of the influences on him, one, he liked diversity. He composed almost all forms of music, including lessons. Musical lessons. I think you know Sankarabharanam, Swarajadi, I think you know. Sa re sa ni da ba ma ga ma pa. I think you know this is something that is taught in early lessons. Varnams, he has Pada Varnams which are suitable for dance and Thana Varnams. Thana Varnams, I think that the 2 are assigned to him, but I think, to my understanding, one of them is a composition of Tanjavur Ponnaiya, which is the Sarasijanaba Varna. But I have no conclusive evidence, but after studying documents and after hearing opinions, that is what I feel. Chalamela is his, but this Varnam is, some people assign it to Vadivelu. But according to the older documents, the question is only whether it is Swati Tirunal's or Ponnaiyas, not Vadivelus. Then in the Suma Sayaka Varnam, my understanding is, I think I heard you speak in Kannada saying give and take between Vadivelu and Swati Tirunal. I too think it is so. When 2 very creative people meet, they will give and take. So in Suma Sayaka Varnam, there is a Ragamalika Swaram. So T. Lakshmana Pillai writes, that is added by Vadivelu. So that is the kind of collaboration they had. But then if you look at many other songs, you will find that in certain genre, there were collaborations, but certain things he was at ease. I will tell some of specialities of his songs. I call him the god of small letters. I think you know that syllables are divided into 2, Guru and Lagu. So Kerala, I think, I'm sure it is there in every culture. I am not aware of it anywhere else, but in Malayalam it is there. There is a special trick to write poetry with only Lagu letters. The great Ramayanam in Malayalam begins like this. Kadaya mama kadagal adi sadaram. So first 12 letters are short syllables. Only the Sadaram is one Guru, one Lakhu and one Guru. So its rhythm is very beautiful. Taka takita, taka takita, taka takita, dim da dim. That is the rhythm of how Ramayana begins. Swati Tirunal had a great fancy for this. He possibly, following the tradition of this person who wrote the Ramayana in Kerala is called Ezhuthachan, father of writing in Kerala, father of Malayalam. So he is possibly influenced by him. You look at many of his songs, you can see short letters coming. For example, what is his most famous song? His most famous song is not one of his best songs. His most famous song in the 19th century, which got recorded in so many places. So I told you about Tyagaraja's composition being printed in 1859. So in the 1859 book, at the last page, this composition is printed for a reason I do not understand. It is in Raga Khamas. It's a sharp contrast with Tyagaraja's Khamas. Tyagaraja's Khamas is very lilting. Sujana Jivana Rama Suguna Bhushana Rama Sujana Jivana. But Swati Tirunal's Kama stood out because of its short letters and because it had some Western touch to it, like a marching touch. In Kerala, the police played this on the band. And when I was a child also, I used to listen to this song being played by the police in the band. They had a Western band in the police. So they played a Carnatic song. So the song is like this. Sa rasa samamugha paramavama. Did you notice the first letter is Sa? Then Ra, Sa, Sa, Ma, Mu, Ka, Pa, Ra, Ma, Va. All short letters and then Mam. Sa rasa samamugha paramavama. Sanaka Mukha Vinuta. Sanaka Mukha Vinuta is all short letters. Then the Charanam also, people do Niraval there. When you do Niraval, if it is Lakhu letters, then you can chop it like whatever you want. Because all syllables stand separate. They are not tied together. If Guru comes, you cannot cut a Guru in two. It is a single syllable. So the Charanam goes like this. Sakala Bhuvana Bhaya Charana Padu Charita Jagala Ameya. Sakala Bhuvana Bhaya Charana Padu Charita. Sakala Bhuvana Bhaya Charana Padu Charita. Sakala Bhuvana Bhaya Charana Padu Charita. Sakala Bhuvana Bhaya Charana Padu Charita Jagala. You can play with it in any way. It's like using if you are given a big chain with a lot of long rings which are connected together, or most of the chains that the women here are wearing, they were so small, so it's very flexible. The one with long parts of it is not very flexible, like the chain used to measure the land and all. It's not easy to fold it, handle it. Whereas this chain, golden chain, is very easy. So he has this mark on his compositions. Many you can see. For example, another one is one in Nilambari. Vimala Kamala Dala Lasita Ruchira Nayana Yadunandana Jaya Jaya Vimala Kamala Dala Lasita Ruchira Nayana. 17 short letters coming in one go. You can see in almost all songs. I think one of the very famous songs of Swati Tirunal is Gopala Kapahimam. I'm sure you have all heard. Beautiful song. which has this jati at the end of charanams, because it is depicting playful Krishna. So when you hear the jati, you are actually hearing the, what do you call for Nupuram in Kannada? Chelangai. Hedge. Oh, okay. So Krishna is wearing that and walking around. So that is the sound that is being heard there. And you can see short letter sequences. Gopalaka pahi mamanisham Sarasa rasa suvajana sarojana balokanayaga Puri karuna tanujida manasija bujagaraja shayana Murashasana gopalaka pahi mam anisham. In the charanam you hear Tana taridam dari mudarida dittila nadilana tana dari ditta kradaga jam jam ditta kradaga jam jam dim da kradaga jam jam gopala. So it is not just fit there just for fun, but it makes it a beautiful dance item. Most composers in Kerala are connected to some form of Natya. Iraiman Thambi was a Kathakali exponent. Swati Tirunal was very fascinated with Mohiniyattam. He kind of reformulated it and all that. Even in modern times, I think you know of a composer called Tulasivanam from Kerala. Bhajamanasa Vikneshwara Manisham Bhajapurva Pana Sadana Ganesham Bhajamanasa Vikneshwara Manisham. That is his composition. He is actually a very famous Kathakali composer. He has many Kathakali plays that he has written. So Swati Tirunal was influenced by this, and so many of his compositions have jatis. Some of them are not very well known, but they are beautiful compositions. Shankarabaranam. Nrityadi nrityadi samba shivom Dridatom 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 iti nrityadi samba shivom. So it's about the dance of Shiva. Dance of Shiva comes again. Paramananda Nadana. I'm not singing full, I'm just kind of giving an indication of it. Drikida tom tom, drikida tom tom, drikida tom tom, drikida tom tom. You have 4 or 5 Shiva songs with the dance of, the sound of the dance of Shiva. Even one in Hindi, I think you must have heard. It's a very beautiful song. GNP used to sing. Ta thai ta kida taga shrudi gadi rame. Ta thai ta kida taga shrudi gadi rame. Padmanabha mana Kamala Viraje Shankara Shri Girinada Prabhu Girinada Prabhu. So this also has sound of, describes the dance of Shiva. And another feature of his music is that he liked new ragas. One raga is assigned to him, that he was the first to compose, he conceived it. We have no proof, except that the first notated song available in print is his. It comes in 1917, a book in 1917, the Arohana Avarohana of Mohana Kalyani is given and the song is notated and given. By son of a person who was in his court. That is the name of the, that is the author of that book. I think you must have heard of that song, but Mohana Kalyani, normally Muthaya Bhagavata's song is more popular, Bhuvaneshwariya. Seve Srikandam Varadam Seve Srikandam Varadam Seve Srikandam. Kalyani and Mohanam, 1 spoon each added. I think, Deshakshi was mentioned here with 1 note difference from Belahari. Actually, Belahari is Mohana Shankarabharana. So this is Mohana Kalyani, that is Mohana Shankarabharana. So not a big innovation, but it is a beautiful raga. Then another one is Bihag. I think we all know that the Trinity did not compose in Bihag. Swati Tirunal composed many, not one, but many. And most famous is, of course, the lilting composition, which I heard first from S. Balachandra's Veena. Smarajanaka Shubhacharita. The talam starts, at the end of the talam, just 1 or 2 matra ahead of the next talam, it starts. So normally offbeat starts from the beginning, but it goes to the end of the talam. It is like, when I hear that, I think it's like a student coming late to the class. They can come 5 minutes late, they can come 10 minutes late. But if they come 55 minutes late, then the teacher would say, oh, you have come 5 minutes early for the next class. So similarly, this talam is also like that. Mr. Japa, very, very rare edupu. Smarajanaka Shubhacharita Akhila Loganayaka Mamava Asmarajanaka Shubhacharita Akhila Loganayaka Mamava Asmarajanaka. The story about this song is that this is written in defiance of the British. It says Padmanabha is Akhila Loka Nayaka, not the British Emperor. That is one interpretation given by the leftist politicians in Kerala, which, they have the right to interpret, so I just tell you that interpretation. He has written many songs in Bihar. Some of which are not very popular. Rinamadanuda paripalaya mamayi bhusura palana lolara madhava nagarendra gara parijada mukharina madanuda paripalaya mam. Some songs have been retuned to Bihag. He has written in different ragas, but knowing his love for Bihag, people have retuned it to Bihag. One is Smaratinuma Sadayam Yadupadi. This is a lilting song. The Kuchela is walking to Dwaraka, and on the way he is singing, oh, please remember me when I come there. Smaratinuma Sadayam Yadupadi Smaratinuma Sadayam Balya Sahayam Kripana Madhiram Balya Sahayam Kripana Madhiram Bhuri Vivasha Hridayam Yadupadi Bhuri Vivasha Hridayam Yadupadi Smaratinuma Sadayam. It's beauty of Bihag, original is Neelambari. I've never heard Neelambari. Then you have also Telugu. Saramaina Matalanda Chalu Chalura Sami Saramaina Matalanda Chalu Chalura. Then he has Malayalam Padam also. ഇളമറിമാനയനെ പതിവിരഹാൻ ഇന്നിയലുന്നിഹ താപമപാരം ഇളമറിമാനയനെ കളകള കോകില നാദവു മധുന കളമൊഴി മാർമണി പാരമസഹ്യോ ഇളമറിമാൻ നയനേ. So many bihaks. Then his Hindi songs I would like to make special mention. It is unimaginable that 200 years ago, somebody in Kerala writes poems in Hindi. Whenever I go to Delhi, I meet people who work with Hindi literature. I ask them, do you have anybody 200 years ago in North India who wrote poems in Malayalam? Who wrote poems in Tamil? No. But here is somebody who wrote a poem, 40 poems in Hindi. And many of them are so simple that Malayalis took a liking to Hindi, and they found that it is very easy to understand with a bit of knowledge of Sanskrit. Devan ke padi Indra, Tara ke padi Chandra, Devan ke padi Indra. So Devan ke padi Indra, Tara ke padi Chandra. So it's very simple to pick up. Then some of his songs are like, beats the love songs of today, Hindi love songs of today. Of course, he describes the love of Krishna and Radha. Many beautiful songs. Bajat Murali Murari Sundar Jamuna Kinare Rasa Rasa Gwal Bal Sangamadan Pyari. This is one. Then I heard at his home, I heard Pahadi, very beautiful song. Aaj aaye Shyam Mohan Rasamandal khelne, aaj aaye Shyam Mohan. बांसुरी की धुन की लागे तान तन नन तुम तनुम बाजे ताल मृदंग गीतुनु त्रिपुटत्तक्किट्टत्तक्क त्रिपुटत्तत्तुम बाजे ताल मृदंग गीतुनु त्रिपुटत्तक्किट्टत्तक्क त्रिपुटत्तत्तो माज आये. And Subha Padvarali आये गिरिधर. Very beautiful songs. I think, with composers, whoever wrote the song, whoever tuned, I think people who are innocent, like our speaker earlier was saying, something happens within you, not with the composer or who tuned it. And you must enjoy that. So I think these are beautiful collection of songs which we must relish, because they are diverse. And then one song in Hindi is actually a Tillana, very rare Tillana, but very popular. I think you know the Tillana. And what does it, Charanam say beautifully? It says, oh, listen to the anklet, what it is saying. बाज पायल कहो जनन जनन बाज पायल kahom janana 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 tom tom janana 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 tom tom janana 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 nanana geet duni kudagadim. Very beautiful lyrics, seems to be tuned for dance, not just like Tilanas being composed by Carnatic musicians, many of whom do not dance. But here is somebody who was very close to arranging dance performances, and the song seemed to be very, very tuned for a dance performance, not just for a Carnatic concert. The lines itself tell us that. Then all his Malayalam padams. In Kerala, I think he is most famous for his padams. His uncle was there. His uncle is Iraiman Thambi. I must make a mention of him. Iraiman Thambi wrote a lullaby when Swati was born, specifically for him. Have you heard it? Okay. When he passed away, he wrote a Charama Sloka, so with the same pen. Both are available. And the variety of Iraiman Thambi is that three songs are very famous. One, a lullaby, another, an erotic song, and the third is Karada Chivanand Tamasam, a very, very soulful bhakti song. And lullaby is typically sung in Nilambari. Omana tingal kidavo nalla komala tamarapu. A very long lullaby. Last line is talking about the luck of this baby. Padmanabhan tan kripayoyini bhagyam varunna variyo. Also, Yennunni Krishnan janicho paril ingane vesham dharicho. Actually, thank you. The song is not talking about sleep. It is saying, is my baby a beautiful lotus flower? Is it a beautiful baby moon? Is it a beautiful bird, quail, that sings Panchamam? Is it a mile that, is dancing? Is it the pichaga flower? Is it the, what do you call as sugar, kalkandam? Kalkandam. Is it kalkandam? Is it milk which is, kachi kurkiya palo? Is it the fine sound of veena? Is it a lamp put in the darkness? Goes on like that, very beautiful. So it is simply asking those questions. I am sure by that time Nilambari does its job and puts the baby to sleep. But the lines do not talk about it. Incidentally, I would like to say how cultures are different. This is our lullaby. Do you know the lullaby of the West, of the Americans? Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bow breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, cradle and all. What is it saying? The baby is put up in a tree. The cradle is up in the tree. And the mother is not doing anything. She is saying, when the wind comes, the cradle will rock. And when the bow breaks, you will fall down. Both the cradle and the baby will come down. I don't know what kind of lullaby is that. I leave it to you to decide. So this is one song Iraiman Thambi wrote. So this is the kind of music that Sodharanal had as a baby. That is what I want to say. And one story related to Swati Tirunal himself became an erotic song. It's a beautiful pada in Kamboji. The All India Radio Trivandrum banned this song from being played in the radio station. But now, such standards have changed. People play this. And anyway, the youngsters don't listen. And even if they listen, they won't understand what is being said. I think people who do not know Sanskrit could listen to Jayadeva Ashtapadis with great amount of bhakti. But if you know Sanskrit, it's very difficult to see what is being written there. So that song, pada goes like this. Prananadhane nikku nalgiya Paramananda rasate Paravadinaludamo Prananadane nikku nalgiya Paramananda rasate. Goes like that. And the last one I would like to mention is Karuna Chaivanandu. Is it popular here in Karnataka? Karuna Chaivanandu Tamasam Krishna Kadalina Kai Torunnen. In Sobhana style, they sing even slower than this. Very, very slow. So, he was a kind of mentor in the younger days for Swati Tirunal. He was in the court. And he had many songs written, Varnam written in Arabi. And many big compositions in Kalyani and Shankarabharanam. But he wrote even big compositions in Malayalam. Swati Tirunal never did. So that is how they stand out. And plus, when Hiraman Thambi writes, he normally refers to Swati Tirunal. But Swati Tirunal never refers to himself. Only in couple of occasions, he refers even to his family or his identity. For example, there is this beautiful song in Sarasangi. Have you heard? Jaya Jaya Padma Nabhamurare Jaya Jaya Padma Nabhamurare Jaya Jagadisha Ramakanda. So in the charanam of it, it says Varavanchi Martanda Varmakrida Lakshadhipa. So it says Martanda Varma created the Lakshadhipam. Martanda Varma is his great uncle. Created Lakshadhipam festival in Padmanabhaswamy temple. That is one place where he says. Another is in the Navaratri compositions. He mentions about his native place, which is a place near Trivandrum city called Attingal. Ara is river. Attingal means near the river. So he has Sanskritized it to Vahini Tadam. Vahini Tada Nivasini Kesari Vahane Didi Vijali Vidarane Pahi Parvata. So in the charanam of it he says Vanchinrupalaka Vamsha Shubhodaya. Vanchi is name of Travancore, the southern part of Kerala. Nrupalakan is king. So Vamsha Shubhodaya. That means, our deity. That is what it is. Other than that, he never makes a mention of himself. And he leaves it to other composers in his court to do that. So when the other composers wrote songs, they mentioned his name always. So that is how we differentiate between their songs. So I can go on and on, but I will sing lines of two more padams and stop. Which is the first printed song in Dijavandi? It is Swati Tirunal's padam. Karuniyan yendu cheivu handa mamaga deidanan Suriti is perhaps the most famous one. Shamagudi never fails to sing it in any of his concerts. And he starts from the Anupallavi, which gives it a different taste. But now because you have heard it so many times, people are not surprised that you start from Anupallavi. Jalaja bandhuvu miha jaladhil anayunno malaya marudametu mama mana matidarambada vivashamai saghi alarshara paridabam. I have gauged that this is the favorite of youngsters among his songs, and it happens to be a favorite of dancers also. So I think I will stop here and take questions, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I forgot to mention one speciality of his song, which is Swarakshara. I think you know about that. He puts swarams and the sahitya in the same place, so that there is some indication of what the musical structure is, some indication, because those days notation system was not there. The best example is Pada sa nati muni jana sugama pavana charita karuna lavala sundaranga vibhava risha manonya mugapadasa. He was a past master in it, and I go by a writing of Chinnasamy Mudaliyar in 1892. In his book he says he was the top master of Swarakshara, and during that time. I don't think it was a great art, but still that is one of his styles. You could see he often puts the word sarasa, which is most likely to end up with the swara sarisa, and padasa. Many songs have these phrases coming up there. Tyagaraja actually had one letter in his own name which he could have played Swarakshara. He does sometimes, but he never overdid it. But perhaps Swadhirinal, Shyama Shastri also. And I think the real master is Balamurali Krishna in Swarakshara. Okay, I will stop here. I'm sorry it was not very organized, and my singing also, I did not warm up and do that. So, really, thank you so much. But I would have sung better if, please.
Standing ovation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a rare honor. Thank you.
Any questions?
Sir, namaskaram. Tirundarathinanu.
No, namaskaram.
Sir, we are equipped with technology now, Spotify, all those musical apps. But was there some kind of a communication between the Trinity and Maharaja at that time? Because they spent the better part of the later, maybe 1850s at the same point of time. So are there kirtanas which can indicate a give and take? We know Shatkala Govindamadar went there.
Yeah.
Then the response to his singing by Tyagaraja Swami was actually, it is said, Endaro Mahanubhavulu.
Yeah. Okay, I will comment on this. Good question. We have evidence that two people went from Trivandrum to meet Tyagaraja Swami. One is Shatkala Govindamadar, another was Vadivelu himself. Where is the evidence? Well, in the Valajapeta manuscripts itself, there is a reference to it that Shatkala Govindamadar sang, and that his students played accompanying instruments. Kinnari, I don't know what instrument that is. So there is a reference to it there. Some people say the song was spontaneously produced by Tyagaraja when he heard him sing. I don't think that was the case. I would best take it as When he sang, some visitor comes, so you sing your song, we will sing one of mine. So he asked the students to sing Endaru Mahanubavalu. This is my understanding of it. Vadivelu went to invite him. He turned down the invitation. These are known. To some, in history, nothing can be confirmed, whether somebody cooked up the story or not. But my understanding, analysis is that both of these things happened. And I have been in the search for a document for this, because I came across a reference that a letter written by Tyagaraja to Swati Tirunal, framed in golden thread, is kept in the archives of the Travancore family, which is handed over to the manuscripts library. But if you come to the manuscripts library in Kerala University, you will drown there. The 75,000 manuscripts, and this seems to be a paper manuscript. So I actually offered a assistant there secretly, I will give you 1 lakh rupees if you locate this for me. Because I tried, I couldn't get. Too many to search, and it is very painful to do that. Dikshidhar, and one reason where they could be connected is Kannaiah Bhagathar was in Trivandrum. The whole quartet was in Trivandrum. They could have definitely told him Dikshidhar is a great composer. They would have sung his songs. Actually, one Ragamalika attributed to Swati Tirunal. Only notation is not available. But all the ragas are Dikshidhar school ragas. Kamala Manohari and Tarangini and all that. So I think that there was some connection. And Dikshidhar definitely came to Kerala. He came to Trivandrum, he came to Kottarakara, and he went to Sabarimala, and he went to Guruvayur. So that we know of because of his compositions. You have Padmanabha itself, there is a composition. So can we believe that somebody who is a great singer comes and does make a composition on Padmanabha, and Swati Tirunal doesn't know that? Because the period when he travelled, he crossed Tamraparni, is when Swati Tirunal was a king of Travancore. So I believe they met. I have no evidence, but there are hearsay things which from many sources, I think they must have met. And the song, I think Pannaga Sayana Padmanabha is a song that Dikshidhar has written. So did they have give and take? We do not know. Tyagaraja may not have been very keen to collaborate or discuss with a king, because generally he, at least in his songs, what we find is that, Nidhi Chala Sukuma and all, he looks down upon the royalty. Dikshidhar also has written like that, but I think he did not practice it when he collaborated with the Ettaipuram Raja. So, they are all human beings also, when certain occasions come, they might have to do such things. But I think that the spirit of Tyagaraja was received in the Travancore court through his students, through his... And Vadivelu took the songs of Swati Tirunal to Tyagaraja. And it was sent to many places also, not just Tyagaraja. Swati Tirunal wanted it to be popularized, so he sent it across to many places. So there is reason to believe that there has been some attempt to communicate, but this letter seems to be an evidence, and I am unable to locate it. I have been searching for it for the last 15 years, believe it or not.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
In the
Your Deshakshi was really, really beautiful.
Thank you so much, sir. So we know many of the compositions of Swati Tirunal is tuned by Shemmangudi Mama. So what led him to tune? Are the original notations that the Maharaja composed available, or are they not? If so, why did
okay.
he tune?
Okay, my book talks about this whole issue. There was a notion created that all the Swati Tirunal compositions are retuned by Shemmangudi and Muthaiya Bhagathar. I don't say it is completely false, but to make that statement generally would be very wrong. Shemmangudi and Muthaiya Bhagathar arrived in Travancore after 1930. And by 1918, more than 100 songs in notation were available in print. For example, the Sarasa Samamukha, if you take, you can see it in notation, Western notation, in Chinnaswami Mudaliya's book. The song that I sung, Padasanadi, you can see it in notation in Chinnaswami Mudaliya's book. So it is a very wrong notion that it was all are tuned. But Sammangudi did two things. One, of course, when any singer sings, do you think we will follow some structure that is written by the composer? We don't even know what the composer wrote. We will take our freedom. When you sing, some of the sangadis you sang, I'm sure that they were created by him. So that is how Carnatic music works. People can add sangadis, and even they can, if they decide, you change ragas. So Balamurali Krishna continuously used to do this. There is a Saveri composition of Swati Tirunal on Ganapati. Only one small song. Pari Pahi Ganaya Deepa Pasura Murte. Balamurali Krishna comes to Trivandrum, he sings Paripahi Ganadipa Basuramurte. What can we do? Then there is a song in Kamboji which is philosophical. Karanam vina karyam, Karanam vina karyam. It goes like that. Again Balamurali comes, sings. Karanam vina karyam nolpadyo madavi kanchanabha dayaya dayaya dayaya. We cannot do anything. So, composers take freedom when they get a song to do that. Balamurali also did something when he came to Trivandrum and he sang one song which is available in notation for a very long time. Sri Ramana Vibho Kalayami Pavantamaye Sritapalana Loluba Madhava Nagabhidhikara Nagabhogishaya Sri. He liked it so much, he went back and wrote his own song with the different sahitya. Sri Sagala Ganati Papalaya Dayama. So such things happen. So to my understanding, of the 300 odd songs, about 30 songs were either retuned or freshly tuned. There was no tune available. And one of the most important songs which were freshly tuned is Devadeva Kalayamiti. There is no notation for it. So he tuned. Very beautiful song. So if you want, you can say, when you sing, you say, Swati Tirunal Kriti given music by Sammangudi. If you want, you can say. But if you start saying that, you will have to say a lot of things for many composers. For example, Purandara Dasa, do you have notations? You do not have notations. And somebody says, Vatapi Ganapadim, you sing 12, 15 sangadis. So they are all credited to many, many people. So I think the settlement for this is, yes, some songs were tuned, retuned, freshly tuned. Most Hindi bhajans are freshly tuned. People sing it in whatever they want. There is a song called Jai Jai Devi. So I think I must have heard it in 5 ragas. Balamurali sings Jaya Jaya Devi Jaya Jaya Saraswati Mai Jaya Jaya Devi. So my suggestion is enjoy all of it. A composer 200 years ago, we cannot say that all sangatis in his songs are like this. Then this song on Ragamaliga, Bhavayami Raghuramam, it is completely written in Saveri. So I am very sure nobody would sing such a song with 8 stanzas in Saveri. So Sammangudi did something good by converting it into different ragas. These are all quite possible and quite welcome things in music, and it applies to Swati Tirunal, but it is very wrong to say all his songs had no notations. They were available starting from 1880. That is what my book points out. And songs were in currency, they were being sung. In 1916, one song was recorded in LP record, which is not surprising. The song is Sarasa Samamuga, Kamas, because that was the most popular one then. No, 1916. So there is a person, some Menon from Palgad, who is not known, identity is not known. No, I found an index of songs in LP records, first recorded in India. There is a book, famous book called David Kinnear, who records all the songs which were published in the HMV. And in that list I got this song. My book also says about that record. Okay, thank you very much. I am very sorry if I overshot. I didn't look at the time. My friend Dr. Sri Kumar, I have 3 friends who accompanied me, Dr. Sri Kumar, Dr. Rajesh and Ashwin. They're all at some time my students, now big professors and scientists and all that. So Sri Kumar was telling me that Mata Amritanandamayi said during her young days there was no watch, but we had time. And and I also do not use a watch, so I do not know what time passed. I just enjoyed 1 hour. Okay, thank you. I just enjoyed talking to you and singing to you. Thank you very much.
Sir, I think the last 1 hour has been so insightful and so compact and dense with the kind of information that you've provided us. With the constant evidences that you provided, I think this was one of those, I thought it was just going to be a talk, but a talk with such fantastic demonstration where it is too young to be saying, but exceptionally thorough in so many ways, meticulously detailed, the kind of details you got out, and strongly grounded in evidence, sir. I think it is very timely and essential that in various fronts of history, and that too, if not many people are aware, sir is a scientist. No wonder why a multifaceted personality like sir, who is a scientist, a scholar, a teacher, a musician, and I'm sure much more, was attracted to a personality like Maharaja Swati Tirunal, who is multifaceted in so many ways and such beautifully researched. And sir, in many ways also acted as a whistleblower with, I think, squashing a lot of those controversies, though he said he wouldn't. In so many ways you could see, he said one of the earliest, 1853, you see the first printed manuscript, sir, if I'm not wrong, where Maharaja Swati Tirunal's compositions come into existence way before you see Tyagaraja's pieces getting published, and time and again, because in India, you're looking at a time period where the British were there, and the system of recording and documentation was quite thorough. So you get into those archives, I think there is no second question on asking about the existence of such a great personality. And the family themselves also have had such wide documentation that sir got to notice that what was, who was his teacher, to what did he learn, everything was getting recorded.
His girlfriends?
Fantastic.
All of them are known.
And talking about Trivandrum as becoming a microcosm of sorts, where how a king becomes pivotal in gathering world cultures to one place. And you have people from north, from south, like sir mentioned, him getting exposed and eventually composing in so many languages, from syllables to words to languages, how he goes on to play, sir. I think I was completely taken aback. Thank you so much. I would request our president, Dr. Arvind Hebbar, sir, to come speak a few words before presenting sir's works to Dr. Achutsankar. Thank you.
Dear sir, it was a phenomenal lecture that you have given with a very few audience in the front. It was totally packed with so much of information and authenticity. And I really learned a lot from every aspect that you have touched upon. We are extremely glad that you have made it a point to come to Udupi and present your lecture today. Your lectures must be heard to the learned audience. We have a learned audience today, and those who would later listen through YouTube, let them learn so many things. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank
you. Achutsankar Nair ಅವರ ಒಳಗಿನ ಪೆಂಚಾಂಟ್ ಒಳಗಿನ ಆ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ಸುಕತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಪುರಂದರದಾಸರ ಕೆಲವು ಹಾಡುಗಳಿಗೆ ರಾಗ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದೆ. ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ನೋ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ನಾನು ತುಂಬ ಪುರಂದರದಾಸರ ಕೀರ್ತನೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಸಮ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡು, ನಿಂಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಲಲ್ಲಬೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಪುರಂದರದಾಸರದ್ದು? I sent him 2 or 3 which are sung by my students and Ranjani and other. He was really very happy. Our love affair started working out later to such an extent that he wanted to come to Udupi at any cost and wanted to have this purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ ಅವರು ನನ್ನ ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು. ಅವರು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾ ಬಿಡ್ತೇನಾ? I would present him because he is really a researcher to the core. ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಆದರೆ ಸಹ 75,000 ಅಲ್ಲ 1,00,000 ಹಸ್ತಪ್ರತಿಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸುಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವರು ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಇವರು ಪುನಃ ಪುನಃ ಬರಬೇಕು. we must invite you again and again, and we have to listen to you, because unless we have the insights to the songs, we may not relish the songs as we are doing it. It is a pathantaram which we will be a parrot singing. Instead, if we know the real insights and some historical aspects too, perhaps we will take it out to our mind. As Paranjape sir told, we will come inside instead of remaining at the periphery. We will experience it. So that is most needed, and you have done it. And ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಮಹಾರಸಿಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಶ್ರೋತೃಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನು ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಕರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೇನು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕಚೇರಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸಾಮಗ, he says that we need a concert also. So that's the eagerness that we have to learn from outsiders like you. We will learn these things and we will digest them and we will pass it on to our next posterity. Thank you very much, sir. And with love, I am presenting this Karnataka, Kirtanas of Karnataka, selection of songs and set to ragas and editing, everything done by me, and musical notations by my own students Archana and Savanvi, who sang Deshakshi, and English translation, wonderful English translation is written here for 50 songs of Dasas, only 50 out of 1,000. That is by my brother Dr. B. Surendra Rao, who is a historian. He is no more, but his eloquence, his depth in the study of history and music are par excellence. I am giving his one work, Ways and Byways of History, written by him and forwarded by none other than another great historian of India, Professor Dr. Keshav. Yeah, you must be knowing him. They were both very good friends. When Dr. B. Surendra Rao got retired from University of Mangalore from the Department of History, Keshavan said, there is no fun in being in this department without Surendra Rao. I will retire. He retired. They were made for each other. So, I am presenting this. Any historian must read this book. A valuable book, weighty book, thousands of metric ton weight. So, on your behalf, I am presenting this book to Dr. Achutsankar.
So I assure you, if health permits, you will see 50 songs of Purandaradasa in Malayalam, translation in Malayalam. It is my long dream to do that. So since I have got an authentic English translation, I will work from that. I actually forgot to sing one song, which is definitely something you cannot miss here, because Swati wrote in Kannada. One song. But like the Hindi, I think it is very simple Kannada with a few words here and there. But still, that is a way to begin things. I hope you will appreciate that King in Trivandrum really looked at India as one. That is what I feel when I do all this. Rajivakshabaro Krishna Radharamana Baro Krishna Rajivakshabaro. I will sing only one stanza, not the whole thing. Chinnada Bhushana Bitta Chikka Swarupa Baro Bennai Chaurya Madida Sri Venkateramana Baro Krishna Rajivakshabaro. I was afraid to sing because I did not know how to pronounce correctly. So I got a quick check from him and wrote it down in Malayalam and sang. So let that, every state must have its own symbol of Carnatic music. When we say Trinity, Trinity is for all of us. Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, we all own the Trinity. But still, we need one symbol of our own. Local, yeah. So in Andhra, it is Annamacharya. In Karnataka, it is Purandaradasa. In Kerala, we have no doubt it is Swati Tirunal. I think that Carnatic music would have flown into Kerala even if Swati Tirunal was not there. Because there are certain people who are born at a particular time that this duty comes to them. But if they were not there, somebody else would have come. Maybe after a few years before or after. But it is through them that the sweetness of the nuances of Carnatic music flew into Kerala. But as I said, it would have happened even otherwise. It was only a question of time. Such a fine music, very sophisticated music would conquer the whole South India. It has conquered. And he happened to be, in Malayalam we say, he is a person destined to take that forward. Not that he was special, but he was the one destined to take it forward. So let us talk about Trimurtis and also sometimes talk about Shadmurtis of South India, which is all the six of them together. And thank you so much once again, and thank you for these books.
Sanjay? Please. Yeah. Oh, fine. ಸಂಜೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ 5:30ಕ್ಕೆ ಅನಾಹಿತ, ಅಪೂರ್ವ, ಚಾರುಲತಾ, ತ್ರಿವೇಂದ್ರಂ ಬಾಲಾಜಿ, ವ್ಯಾಸವಿಠಲ ಇವರ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸಂಗೀತ ಹಾಡುಗಾರಿಕೆ ಕಚೇರಿ ನಡೀಲಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಬನ್ನಿ. ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿಯೇ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.